Spider-Man games have been around since the damn Atari, and that's not an exaggeration. Spider-Man games have actually been around since the Atari.
What the fuck?
And since that time frame have had exactly 40 titles according to the reputable Wikipedia, spread across all gaming generations, and for the longest time have been completely hit or miss. You had some solid ones on the Genesis, great ones on the PS1 and 2, believe it or not. Movie tie-ins actually weren't absolute dog shit once upon a time. But then Treyarch, yes, that Treyarch, left the character to make 6 fucking Black Opses back to back, the poor fucks, as Beanox was brought in to make their solid duology in the early 2010s, Shattered Dimensions and The Worst Edge of Time, only to go on to make the amazing Spider-Man, where you sniff Peter's ass as he swings. There was nothing amazing about these games.
Beanox would then go on to never touch the character again,
as the character would then be passed over to Insomniac, most well known for Ratchet and Clank at that point.
Interesting choice.
But would work out great, as in 2018 we will get what would widely be considered to be the greatest Spider-Man game up to that point, Marvel Spider-Man.
Emphasis on the Marvel, as there already been 4 other Spider-Mans. I know, easy to confuse. If I squint, I sort of see Spidey.
And with the critical and commercial success of that game, a sequel that they were very clearly teasing would very obviously be made 2 years later in 2020, Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Why does everyone forget that this game exists, including me? I didn't make a video on it.
This was more of a spin-off than anything else. No, we would get the real sequel in 2023 with Marvel Spider-Man 2.
Emphasis on the Marvel, as there already been a...
And the game would again release to critical and commercial success with much similar reception to the first one, but as the next 2 years would go by, would begin to get much more hate than one would expect. From things like missing features, a canceled DLC, side content, which the first game was also criticized for, to even things like the story and writing. And with the game releasing on PC this year and having never played it before, what better time is there to see how the game holds up after all the hype has died down, and if it really is as bad as the internet would have you to believe. And from the get-go, from the moment you start the game with the first thing you do, you can recognize instant improvements gameplay-wise over the first, with the traversal especially. It was already great in the first one, probably the best web swinging we had seen up to that point, but it was really refined and sped up here, way quicker and snappier. Abilities which are a great addition to launch you into the sky and give you a massive boost of momentum, but the most notable and frankly best change was the addition of the web wings, which might seem counterproductive or out of character for Spidey, who's most well known for web slinging. Gliding was more of a Batman thing, and honestly, I was in that camp too. While I know he's had these in the comics for fucking ever now, I was a little confused on how these would work and if they would clash or take away from Spidey's more typical web swinging. But after playing through the entire game with these, my god, you cannot possibly go back. They genuinely add so much to the traversal and no longer just make it holding R2 the whole time, as it truly excels when you switch back and forth between the two movement types, gaining momentum with the swings and then switching to the glide once you reach that peak, and then back to the swinging once you start to lose momentum, which is made all the better with the fans on the rooftop sending you launching into the air when you're using the web wings, or wind tunnels in between the many claustrophobic skyscrapers spread across the city, indicated by floating rings.
Oh my god, the superhero game curse returns. No.
Believe me, I was as terrified when I saw these floating obstructions appear in midair just as much as the next guy. I genuinely think I got a kick of PTSD when the first ring materialized floating in the air.
What the Where did these rings come?
Why am I flying through rings on the second mission? But believe it or not, I genuinely think for the first time in any superhero game, they actually got floating rings right. It only took 2 fucking decades. They're great here, and I literally have no complaints. Flying through them gives you a massive boost of speed and really helps keep the movement quick and fluid, especially when it comes to traversing the bridges connecting the 2 islands on the city. There was a chance for all these bridges to turn into that one dogshit bridge from Arkham Origins that nobody fucking liked traversing. But these rings really help speed up how long it takes to get across from them, except for this one, which for some reason just doesn't have any, even though the one right next to it does.
Why does this bridge not have a wind thing, but that one does?
Of course, you could just fast travel from district to district instead of using the bridges, which is bafflingly quick. Like, even with the PS5's SSD, this is genuinely insane load times, but I rarely found myself doing that until I was about to get 100%, where I started getting really bored. Because the movement genuinely is that fun, and exploring this expanded version of New York was amazing. New York in this game is even more beautiful than it was in the first, especially at night. Meanwhile, in the day, I'm getting flashbanged by the rising god ray known as the sun.
Good god, that sun glare. That's fucking, I have sunglasses on and that shit's hurting my eyes.
So fun to travel through, so detailed, from fantastic references to the comics to landmarks from the real world, and even small unnecessary shit that just adds to the game and city, making it feel more alive. The stadium of the biggest fucking bum-ass frauds in the National Football League, daily bugle helicopters hovering over crimes and seemingly following Spidey around to get a picture, planes in the sky again, although way too fucking many, I'm not gonna lie.
There was more to that joke, but due to events that have occurred over the past year, we'll be quickly moving on.
And even small things like actually being able to see inside apartments, being able to creepily spy on civilians just chilling inside.
Oh, there's a guy watching nothing. He's just... Oh man, that's depression. That's depression if I've ever fucking seen it.
Without a doubt, the most improved part of this sequel was the city, its details and graphics, and just how fun it was to get around with the incredible traversal. It's for sure a major step up from the first and the exaggerated swagger of Miles Morales. Most of the other gameplay mechanics were touched on too, but more or less just kind of the same with some minor tweaks for better or for worse. As combat here is practically identical to 1 and Miles Morales, that Arkham style flow combat with dodges instead of counters. I still like counters more, but that's just a me thing, and dodges do work better for Spidey's character, so I get it. There are some new combos and things like that which you can get from the skill tree, like this fantastic wall kick combo that just disintegrates their fucking health bar, bouncing the human body, which is made up of meat and bones, not whatever the fuck the Mr. Fantastic formula is, off the concrete floor to fly back up to you and continue your aerial combo. And my personal favorite, kicking them and carrying them up closer and closer to the creator to make their journey to the afterlife they'll soon be going on much easier.
To fucking heaven, motherfucker.
As let's be totally real here, Spidey is 100%, 10,000% killing these people, whether it be making them shoot each other, or bouncing them like they're made of rubber, or curb stomping their fucking throat, or throwing their unconscious bodies into the ocean, or dropping a fucking car on their head. These dudes are dying.
Well, that's not a negative, it is fucking hilarious.
Although while these additional combat skills are great, for the most part, they're mostly just that, additions, but keep the combat as a whole fairly similar to the first. The only real change that they've made that very much alters the way the game is played is this new parry mechanic where instead of dodging every attack, you also have the option to parry, which if mistimed will result in lessened damage, but if perfectly timed, can cause you to essentially repose them and allow for a big ass combo as they get stunned. This is a really great idea that in execution I'm a little mixed on, but works especially well for boss fights. Something I hated about Spider-Man PS4 is how every single fucking boss fight was so pathetic as it generally just turned into Dark Souls 3 dodge spam, even on harder difficulties. But this new parry mechanic, as well as attacks that are dodgeable only, ups the challenge to these boss fights like crazy and makes them feel actually unique and intuitive and not just spamming circle. I played on harder difficulties and certain fights were actually fucking me up, no joke, as you actually have to learn their attack patterns, their strings, what attack leads to an undodgeable or an unparryable, or else you'll get fucked up. There was a genuine learning curve with the moveset that you'd have to memorize with each boss fight specifically from this edition, so it works well when it comes to that, but when it comes to hordes and regular combat, it can cause some issues. As with many of the new enemy types added to this game, most of them have at least one yellow undodgeable attack that can be fucking annoying, as you'll get in the flow of dodging and punching, focusing on the larger group which all attack in one counterable way, just for one of them to whip that bullshit banana colored attack from their ass, you dodge out of instinct and get fucked. It is a skill issue, I won't lie, and I did get better at it by the end, but the mechanic itself just doesn't work as well in hordes as it does in bosses, and for the most part sorta just causes me to play super passive when certain enemy types are around, as I just wait for their undodgeable the entire fight.
Just for me to get killed by it anyway.
If anything, it just made me fucking despise certain enemy types in this game. These knife guys at first annoyed the hell out of me as they were the first enemy type to spam these undodgeables.
Fuck the blade, people!
But I quickly learned their one yellow AoE slam move and can parry it very easily. The hunters as a whole were all pretty annoying to deal with due to their advanced tech shit like the nets that make you get to the ground or your abilities getting EMP'd. These fucking hawks annoyingly hovering around in the air with a wall of health early game.
How many of these birds are there? How many of these birds are there?
But by far the most annoying are the fucking robot dogs. They demolished me constantly.
Fuck! Oh god! These fucking cheetahs, every time they appear, they eat my ass apart.
And they don't even have the most annoying parry attack in the game. By far the most annoying isn't even in the main story. It's a side faction with this fire cult committing 9 out of 10 crimes in New York on a given day, so much so that Spidey is going schizo seeing their asses when they're not even fucking there.
Did I just see that crime genuinely fade away? What the fuck?
Performing an extermination on these gas trucks over and over and over and seriously, if this cult is specifically targeting these gas trucks this hard, recall them. Stop sending them out into the city. They've all been lit on fire. What are you doing?
Sir, as we know, in the last week, this fire cult has lit 42 tankers on fire. Are you thinking about performing any sort of recall to deter this and protect workers and civilians?
Well, that would cost a lot of money and hurt our stocks. But while they have blown up 42, we seriously don't see them blowing up 43, 44, 45.
But of everyone in this game, to me, the enemy with the most annoying parry attacks are these fucking flamethrower guys who, even in endgame, I fucking despise. A fuck ton of health, can't combo well because they escape, annoying in crowds because you have to stay close to them to parry their attacks or else they'll snipe your ass with a flamethrower, a weapon whose drop off is meant to be that close range only, and my scientific proof of that is Pyro from TF2, as they genuinely melt you both literally with what they're using and figuratively if you look at my fucking health bar, which is melting away. But probably the most annoying enemy type in the game as a whole are the symbiotes later in the game. As a collective, this enemy type is already brutal to deal with, hard to combo because they dodge a wall of health, hyper aggressive, especially these unhittable green ones. Like, motherfucker, stop moving. These shitheads single-handedly turned this game into a third-person shooter. I genuinely just resorted to opening fire the moment I saw them.
Oh god. Oh my god. Web everything. Just web. Spam web. Spam web, Miles.
But by far the most annoying are these fucking pink ones. Not due to an undodgeable, not because they're fucking zoners, but because of this absolute bullshit mine attack, which are so fucking difficult to dodge when triggered in the middle of a horde and have such a big AoE that even when you try to web away, you'll still get hit unless you're across the fucking battlefield. This enemy type as a whole, I was struggling with like crazy, but this explosion attack specifically can kiss my explosive diarrhea ass. Now, while the parry mechanic is the only real new thing added to the game combat-wise, with the rest just being some tweaks, those tweaks actually make a very big impact on the combat as a whole, and I'm not really sure if it's a positive or a negative. I generally don't know how to feel about it. The addition of abilities, the skeleton of which already existed in the first game, with specific ultimates Peter could do depending on whatever suit he was wearing, although this has been expanded on greatly in this game and turned into its own mechanic overall, with 4 ability slots, each with 2 abilities to choose from, fitting into a box of sorts, doing certain things: direct damage to one enemy, sending everyone up into the air, crowd controls, or more unique ones like this weird ricochet punching one with Miles, or just straight up AoE to a group like
armed and dangerous again.
The abilities are a nice addition, but honestly, I don't know how to feel about them. It's a great idea, and in some areas, I really like them, and they're genuinely fun to use, and I find myself using them a lot more than the gadgets from the first game, or even the ones here. But the thing is, they're very bare bones and streamlined and limit what you can do with them. While like I mentioned, I didn't use the gadgets as much as I probably should have in the first one, they were still really fun, and when used correctly, the gadgets could allow for way more creative play than the abilities ever could. Something that required actual practice that you actually had to learn and get good with. Meanwhile, this is just a button prompt every few seconds. I understand why they did it, so more people could get to experience that style of play aside from the regular punch, kick, dodge combos, but I don't know, something about the creativity and versatility from the gadgets in the first is just really missed here, since like, you could have had these abilities, go ahead, but it didn't have to come at the sacrifice of 50% of the gadgets from the first one. Of the 8 in the first game, 2 of them returned. The default web shooters, which no shit that's gonna return, that's the fucking Spider-Man gadget, and the concussive blast, which I barely used in the first one, but it is more useful here as it's a direct counter to the symbiote's enemy type. Everything else has been either removed or retooled. The gravity vortex got reworked into the upshoot web, which does feel more in line with Spidey. The ricochet web seems to be a replacement for the web bomb, webbing a bunch of enemies up within a radius. I like the web bomb more, but of the 4 gadgets we have available in this game, this is one of the more useful ones, but the most useful one and best one is the web grabber, pulling everyone into the center, which could be perfectly set up for an ability use. This is great. If the rest of the gadgets in the game can be comboed in perfectly with your abilities like this, then this new system would have worked amazingly. The problem is, this is the only gadget that does that. Everything else just does the same thing that an ability does, just in a slightly different way. I understand gimmicky shit like the spider drone being removed and electric web as it was replaced by their abilities. The web bomb and vortex got retooled, okay, but the impact web?
One of the most useful ones? How are you gonna remove that? And the trip mine? Are you crazy?
Stealth was already one of the weakest links from the first game. Instead of improving it like a sequel should, you've taken away from it. Stealth is just as bad as it was in the first, as the 2 Spideys continue to silently take down enemies with the loudest maneuvers imaginable.
Stealth, right behind that fucker.
Like, it still doesn't make sense to have these fuckers not make a peep as they're being carried up into the fucking rafters, having their head concussed off steel railings. I'd be screaming my heart out if I was just chilling and then all of a sudden got carried 600 feet into the air. Not like it'd matter, considering that these fuckers are hard of hearing.
Ah! Hey, he's got me!
No improvements have been made, still super clunky as the safe and dangerous symbol is more indecisive than what I'm gonna get post-nut clarity to before I go to bed.
And their shit not flicker back and forth.
Still extremely frustrating as Spidey just decides to start attacking them
that's
when
not
you
what
are
I'm trying-
trying to stealth.
I hate this game stealth. No, why are you attacking them? Why? No. I was trying to fucking fly, motherfucker.
And realistically, what is the difference between this attack and this attack? Why does one garner attention and the other doesn't? And still extremely bare bones. In fact, even more now as the trip mine and setting up traps, the only thing that took some sort of thought and planning in the first game is gone. So now it's literally just sneaking up to people and taking them out and maybe separating them if they're too close with a noise, which is so fucking contrived that it hurts, as only this metal box will make a noise and attract them and not this exploding wooden box.
You didn't fucking hear that or see that?
Like, I understand adding abilities. In fact, like I said, I like them, but it didn't have to come at the sacrifice of half the gadgets being taken away for it. These two mechanics can coexist. You didn't have to make one bare bones to the point where I genuinely had to remind myself to use them. You could have had your 4-slot gadget mechanic, which
Is shittier than the wheel from the first. What?
but if you're so adamant about it, then go ahead. Use the 4 gadget mechanic, but give us the option to pick and choose what we want in these slots, like you did with the abilities. Give us 8 or more gadgets in total that we could switch between at any given moment, like hotkeys in an RPG. That way you wouldn't have to remove mines and downgrade stealth even more. If you enter a stealth encounter, you could just go to the menu and equip a trip mine, and maybe even more gadgets made specifically for stealth. Maybe you could have a whole second gadget list for stealth. That'll really help flesh out and expand on the system that we have right now. I like the abilities, they're fun to use. I just really hate how bare bones and streamlined it made the combat feel as a whole, because in a void by itself, I think these abilities are a great inclusion. For Miles especially, as it's an amazing way to showcase his different powers, his electricity, all the ways he can use it. Meanwhile, Peter's are lame as fuck.
I got my electricity power. I can just electric punch the shit out of them, go up in the air and slam down AoE everywhere, pull everyone in and electrocute them all at the same time, or just zap them and then ricochet them. What about you? I got like robot arms.
That is until he gets access to the symbiote, where his lame ass abilities are kicked up a notch and made genuinely better than Miles. They still fall into the categories I mentioned previously, but all the things surrounding them, the visual, sound effects, impacts of all the different symbiote powers makes them so much better. Without a doubt, my favorite part of this game isn't the combat, isn't the traversal, even though it was great and the most improved. It's Symbiote Pete, by far the #1 part. Every fucking thing they did with him, from story to gameplay, was absolutely amazing. The symbiote surge, the moment you get the suit, is fucking incredible. Sure, it does just bog down to pressing square over and over again, but I don't care. It's an absolute power trip, just wiping the floor with every criminal in that area. Brutal fucking takedowns, and not to mention the sound effects, as it sounds like you're genuinely concussing their asses with every hit you land. Peter sounding like he's actually going insane.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh my god. Ooh, the sound effects, the controller vibration. I'm punching through their shields. Oh my goodness!
But the best part about it is how the suit is handled story-wise, and no spoilers yet, that'll come later as I delve into the story, but Peter in the suit, the way his personality changes into an absolute dickhead, bully Lowenthal, it's the best part of the game. It's done so incredibly, better than Spider-Man 3, and I don't care. Even though I love how much of a meme that is and how cheesy in a lovable way that was, Symbiote Peter in this game is better, and he's not cheesy, he's a genuine fucking psychopath losing his shit at everyone around him.
Where?
Whether it be hunters who totally deserve it, not gonna lie.
Damn. I would fucking walk away. I agree. I would do that too.
Or some poor broke fucks just trying to jack a TV from a store.
Break it. I'll break them. I see any of you again, I won't be so nice.
Or even people he's close with, declining MJ's call so he could continue monologuing to himself.
Not now, MJ. Is Spider-Man doing more harm than good? How about now?
Jesus.
Now who needs the old Spider-Man? What's so great about the new Spider-Man anyway?
And speaking of MJ, Why would you bring this back? Yes, the controversial MJ, Miles, whoever the fuck else returns in Spider-Man 2. Although instead of a teenage Miles, you play as a teenage Peter in high school building his longtime friendship with Harry in the most drawn out section I have ever witnessed as you stealth around from school guards trying to get to the gym as a squirrel for some reason just chills in the room. You're not gonna question the squirrel that's sitting right fucking there? Why is a squirrel? This had to be one of the most boring sections in the entire game and gave me instant flashbacks to the dog shit 4 stealth sections from the first with how fucking long it was being stretched on for. And I feared the exact same thing when the camera panned out and I started playing as a redhead.
I think I know where to find him.
No, I know what's about to happen. No way this is about to happen. Don't. Everyone complained about it in the first game. Everyone. No.
Although I do have to admit, while I still don't really like these sections and would prefer more Spider-Man over them, you know, like what's advertised on the fucking box and title, I will admit they are far better than the first time around. There's less of them in total. They don't stretch on and on for as long as they did in the first game, only really that flashback opening. Their placements in the story a lot of the times actually make sense and don't feel as forced.
He decides to get a pizza and think about his life choices, and the screen fades out, and instead of doing what you think it would do, which is fade back in and show an empty box of pizza to signify that Spider-Man ate the box of pizza, no, what the game does instead is fade into an MJ section.
And probably the biggest improvement overall is you're not a fucking civilian. You're not stealthing around with no means to defend yourself. You can actually fight back, which helps improve these sections a bit and makes them a lot less boring, although opens the door to a whole other area of criticism with the gameplay itself. In some sections, it's great, especially with the symbiotes, where it genuinely turns into a mini survival horror game, a more bare bones Resident Evil. Those were fun, but those are few and far between, as majority of the time you're playing Star Wars Outlaws, and that is not a good thing, as you crouch around using the most bare bones stealth mechanics, where the most advanced thing that you could do is toss something that'll make a sound and redirect them, like every stealth game since the invention of the glass bottle. Redirecting, sneaking up, and stun KOing Kraven's hunters. These are hunters trained by Kraven, by the way. The most elite hunters that you could possibly encounter that know how to blend in, track, hear, and stalk their prey are getting snuck up on and taken out by a fucking journalist. The captain who surprise attacked her is losing a one-on-one fight by a journalist.
No way MJ actually...
Observe.
No fucking way she just beat them in a... She got surprise attacked too. Wow, that's crazy.
How did you get this job? You deserve to be fired.
Guess she's Garen's boss.
He's the captain and I just... How is she the captain? Bro, MJ could take Kraven on at this point.
And I don't care how much training she got from Sable in Simcaria. Just because I watched some jujitsu playlist on YouTube doesn't mean that I can now take on Khabib. I would fucking die. And same here, just because she got a year of training from Sable doesn't mean that she can now sneak up on and take out the most elite hunters out there. Although I honestly find that hard to believe with how actually brain dead their AI is. Like, this is PS2 era shit. They are actually like... I'd be surprised if there's any brain activity going on at all. I'm surprised they're able to speak to each other. This motherfucker Kraven had to be giving cracked out hobos on the subway a knife and sending them out into New York to find Spider-Man. There's no other way that these are hunters trained by him.
Hunter down. We are not alone. The girl is over here.
Come over here. Come the fuck.
She's trying to hide.
Why did he run away? What is this fucking hunter doing? These are professionals. What is going on? While the sections are improved from the first game, that doesn't mean they're good. They're fine, but just boring. And I don't understand why Insomniac is so adamant about splitting up the gameplay with these different characters. If you're worried about regular Spider-Man gameplay getting stale, I promise, this is more stale. I'd much rather take all the dev work and game time that it took to make these MJ sections and put them into more Spidey levels or boss fights, or maybe taking that time to focus on making some new side missions, as you clearly didn't spend much, considering that every single side mission from the first game is repeated here. Every single one. Prowler stashes are Black Cat's hideouts, Mysteriums are Taskmaster's challenges, the robot birds are Howard's pigeons, photos are photos, the Blind's bases, nests, and even Marco's memories are just different faction bases from the first game. The spider drones are somehow lamer backpack, and the Emily May experiments are the fucking research stations from the first game.
Of all the side missions, why did you have to bring back that one?
And that's every one of these collectible style side missions. They're literally all the same. In fact, maybe worse in some aspects with how they're retooled. The only good thing I could say is that there's less of them, so it's less of a drag. It's bad if the only good thing I can say about this side content is that there isn't a lot of it. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the backpacks, those fucking lame-ass collectibles, are better than the spider bots. While I didn't like them in the first game, they at the very least had some interesting things going on for them. Hearing Peter talk about his first encounter with villains, cool references to the comics and lore. Meanwhile, the spider bots just tease a game that got canceled and reference the different versions of Spider-Man's and his villains. One of which being Gwen, which I ironically got while wearing the Spider-Verse outfit.
Wonder what should make more things.
The pictures too return and made me constantly bring up the camera in the middle of combat. Who the fuck thought it was a good idea to make that the most sensitive upswipe on the controller? I get it, you're an exclusive, you gotta be quirky and use all the PS5's useless features to actually give them a purpose, but this is fucking annoying.
Stop turning the fucking...
Although when used correctly, the pictures are still worse than they were in the first game. Although that's more understandable, as obviously they can't just do the exact same thing they did in the first game, taking pictures of landmark. I found these pretty lame in the first one also, although it was cool to see some of these landmarks in video game format, real ones like Lady Liberty, and even in lore fake ones like the Tower of the most useless team in human history.
Where is Miles? Where is anyone? Miles isn't here, the Avengers aren't here, they're probably still in fucking San Francisco with their dog shit game. Where the fuck is anyone?
But obviously they couldn't do that again, as we already took a picture of like 50% of the landmarks of the city, so we'd just be treading old ground. So they replaced that with just pictures of people doing random shit.
Why am I taking a picture of fuckers playing Frisbee secretly? This is kind of creepy.
A conspiracy theorist, people in Spider-Man masks, a chess match.
Those fuckers are locked in. Everybody's freaking out for me webbing by them. Those fuckers are locked the fuck in. And then she's walking on the bench and then clipping.
Although it's not all negative changes, that'd be disingenuous. Prowler stashes are an improvement over Black Cat stakeouts, having an actual puzzle to figure out where the tech is or dodging these lasers, which is optional because you can literally just brute force your way through it and turn out just fine. But they're better than just taking a picture of a window. The robot birds too are more fun versions of Howard's pigeons, although less wholesome too. Mostly because of the addition of the web wings makes it a lot more fun to chase them instead of swinging around, but also because there's an actual interesting story going on within it, with Kraven seemingly targeting civilians, which ends on a cliffhanger for the DLC that's never gonna happen.
So, what was the point of any of that?
Whereas Mysterium's, I'm really torn on. For one, I really liked Mysterio as a character, and it was cool to see him here, and aesthetically, these challenges are way cooler than the Taskmaster challenges, which were just in spots throughout the city. Here they're tripping, mind-bending arenas, but the thing is, Taskmaster challenges had variety. You had your standard combat challenges, stealth challenges, good thing these are removed, bomb challenges where you have to disable bombs in a set time limit, and drone challenges where you have to chase after a flying drone across the city, which would have worked so well with this improved movement. Did they do it?
We have combat challenges.
They only include combat challenges with some minor modifications like kill enemies in a time limit, or don't take damage, or knock enemies off the map, which is fucking impossible if you upgrade your damage fully before doing it.
Motherfucker.
Someone's gotta be messing with these Mysteriums. Based on that last call from Betsy,
Are you kidding me?
crew have it almost figured out.
Bro, I do too much damage.
Despite how amazing the movement would have worked with something akin to the drone challenges or the cool mind-bending shit they could have done while chasing it, which they do sort of do at the end one time, but imagine mind-bending shit like that multiple times.
One of the challenges, you have to throw enemies out of the map. Then there's another one where you have to knock out brutes. Yeah, I don't know which one I like more.
They're both solid side story missions and probably the best ones from these shitty copy and paste collectible style side missions that we've had in both games, but I genuinely don't know which one I prefer more. Meanwhile, the Emily May and research stations from the first game, I prefer neither. They're both fucking ass. Who liked the research stations from the first game? Who bought Spider-Man PS4 to become a fucking plumber? Who bought this game to shoot fucking hornets and pollinate plants? Who bought this game to solve a dog shit mobile game minigame? Why are these minigames back?
Who says science isn't fun?
Me, this is not fun. I hated, despise them in the first game. I know some people like them. Good for you. You're a boring individual and I wish I had your brain. I didn't. I didn't get a Spider-Man game to solve puzzles. I bought a Spider-Man game to turn my brain off and play as Spider-Man. Has there ever been a comic book which went 20 panels in depth to showcase which specific wires Spidey cut to disable a bomb? No, because no one cares. And no one cares here, so stop adding that. At the very least, in the first game, it was blindingly obvious you could skip these whenever you want. I rarely did because I'm stubborn, and once I start a challenge, I have to see it through to the end. But here, they don't even give you that option. In the corner, they give it to you if you pause the game.
I didn't fucking know that.
I didn't know you could skip them. Why would you make it less obvious? I was losing my mind at how many times these already dog shit Emily May side missions would stop in their already slow ass tracks to bore you some more and require you to solve some indoor recess puzzle. Oh my God.
Material to help your cousins grow faster. Makes it possible to meet food supply challenges without sacrificing safety.
I don't feel like fucking doing this. I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Fucking dog shit. Dog shit, stupid ass fucking minigames. Don't add them in 3. Stop fucking.
Hey, just wanted to let you know you got a package here at the house.
Don't tell me I have to do another experiment. Just tell me I pick up the package and move on with my life. I can't escape. I can't fucking escape. No matter how fucking hard I try, every time I think I'm done, there's another fucking... Let me just stop placing shit randomly and actually try to fucking think it through, even though I don't fucking feel like doing this at fucking 12:52 a.m.
Okay, we place that one there. And then how many is there with 2 on the fucking left? This one, this. We have 3 choices to work with. Let's start with the water, and then place this one. Is there anything else with that on the top? Okay, there's not. So then 3 on the top, here we go. We got this one, and that's the only one. And then 2 on the right, there's nothing. So this pattern does not work. And that was the only one with 5. Okay. So then we could try this one, and place it there, and then we need 1 on the top left. We have this one, and then 3 on the bottom, or no, 3 on the top.
I got it. I fucking got it. Oh, bless the heavens, bless the Lord. And after you're done with these missions, do you at least get a sick-ass suit to make all that hour of boredom you just went through worth it? What in the fucking Modoc am I looking at? What the fuck is that? This is the suit you get. That is one of the worst suits I've ever seen in my entire fucking life! And what's even worse, after completing all these shitty collectible side missions and exploring every nook and cranny of the fucking districts, because the spider bots don't appear on the map, you'd assume you'd be rewarded with some sort of 100% completion suit like you were in the first, only to be slapped in the face with the realization that you don't get shit! At the very least, the actual story side missions, the side stories are improved here for sure. While I am frustrated at these shitty collectible ones making a return, it's good that's not all that there is like in Spider-Man 1. In Spider-Man 1, the only side story I can genuinely remember was Tombstone. And that stupid ass college one where people were going missing. I don't even remember the specifics. That's how ass it was. Like, you see their last picture and head over there and fight a horde over and over. Every other side mission in Spider-Man 1 was this bullshit and like double the amount that there is here.
One of my old backpacks from high school.
But at the very least, we actually got an 100% completion suit, unlike here, even if this was the suit. Jesus Christ, fucking censor that shit. Here there are multiple missions with actual plots that you can follow, which for the most part are good. You got some more simple one-off missions from the app that Peter and Miles use, which are all pretty wholesome and nice seeing that side of Spider-Man that helps the little guy doing these little tasks, helping Deadpool's roommate with animal issues, helping a lady find her grandpa. They somehow squeezed a minigame into this one, but it's okay because the grandpa proceeded to get my mind off that by giving me a speech that made me think about my lonely ass life instead. To a super wholesome and frankly sad one, helping Howard where what could Howard possibly need? You guessed it, his pigeons, and finally helping some people who bought illegal fireworks from the most idiot obvious criminals I've ever fucking seen. Who the fuck casually walks around with a chain fist? To missions where you play as other characters, a flashback of Pete meeting Jonah for the first time, which was pretty fun to see since we never seen Peter's origin story in this series, and one where we play as Haley, Miles' love interest, which while kinda boring, was interesting to experience what it's like living life as a deaf person for a brief period of time, even if it did confuse me at first. Why do I hear anything? Oh.
I might be the biggest dumbass in the fucking entire world.
And similarly, Miles also has some missions around his school helping students, which are all short one-offs, but I didn't like them as much. They weren't as engaging or as interesting as the ones from the app and felt a lot more like busy work, especially this dickhead, making me do their entire fucking school project for them.
Can you help? Our senior projects are due Friday. Since you're up there, would you mind snapping a photo of campus for us? Could we get a couple more? Okay, so next.
Oh my god.
One last favor. Don't suppose you'd be down to do 10 hours of editing.
Anything else?
Well, those are short and quick one-offs.
No, they're not.
We do get two that have an actual extended story spanning across multiple missions. Miles' mission was fun to go through, starting off investigating a raided museum using the Spider-Bot to find some instruments criminals stole to help ensure that this music festival showcasing artists from the 1900s would go through, which, while not very high in stakes or super intense in any way like I usually enjoy, it was a wholesome mini story and something that Spidey would do to help the community, and it was a cool way to learn about these different artists from the 1900s. Peter's, however, was fantastic. Probably the best side story that they've done in the series so far, genuinely feeling like something that could be a main plot. As we enter a burning building with Spider-Bot to help people trapped inside.
If I had a nickel for every time a side story in Spider-Man 2 started with Spider-Bot infiltrating a building, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that happened in the only 2 side stories.
All to stop this fire cult and their leader from destroying parts of the city. A story and plot that I was genuinely engaged with and enjoying, ending in a crazy cliffhanger ending that had me super excited to see where they take the story.
I now understand why the Spider-Man community was so pissed. I am now infuriated right alongside you, because are you being fucking for real right now?
For the most part, I'd say the side content is a minor improvement from the first, but we still have a lot to improve on. Less of these repetitive ass boring collectible side missions, please. I've never seen anyone praise them. Especially those fucking science experiment EMF side missions.
If you remove those from the third and keep everything else, I'll be happy. I won't be... Okay, that's not true. I'll still bitch, but I'll be happier.
More of those app side missions, and especially those 2 side stories, and will be golden. And we all know you can fucking do it, as you've already proven yourself to be able to write great stories with Spider-Man PS4, Miles Morales, and even this game. As despite what Reddit would have you believe, Spider-Man 2 still has a very solid story from start to finish. Not as good as the first, but solid. One of the biggest issues that's noticeable off the bat are pacing issues which persist throughout the game. The first act struggles with this a decent amount due to its start-stop style. A high-octane start with the Sandman fight, before completely stopping for a boring-ass tutorial section where you fly through rings with a drone, then starting again, then stopping in a mission where Peter looks like he's holding in a massive pile of shit, starting, stopping, starting. It's understandable since they're setting up stuff for later in the story and have a decent amount to set up with Peter and Harry's friendship, as if you've only played the first game, you likely only know Harry from the worst side missions in that game and only really have an idea of who he is and his friendship with Pete, so they spend too many missions establishing this in the first act. The second, though, is thankfully much better about this, hardly struggling with any pacing issues at all, and in my opinion, is without a doubt the best act in this game, with my only problem is that Miles feels extremely sidelined here, but not really even just for the second act, but for majority of the story as a whole. The most that he gets here is a small side plot dealing with his hatred for Lee, who was freed by Kraven so that he could hunt him, and it is a good side plot with the whole has great boss fight and solid resolution, as Miles is able to put his hatred aside to work with him, and Lee even getting a redemption of sorts. But that's all Miles really gets. Aside from that, he's sort of just a supporting member to what seems like Peter's ass beating, as aside from the Lee thing, all he does is save Peter's ass throughout the story, especially when he's trapped in the symbiote, which is what Act 2 is all about, and part of the reason why I love it so much, as well as much of the build-up from the first act, specifically with Kraven, paying off here, who is no doubt the best characterized person in this game, as they fucking ensured he would be, killing off 4 fucking major villains, including Spider-Man from a British shank, until the symbiote saves him, just to make Kraven look strong, which is a bit excessive. Scorpion was good, making him look like an absolute beast, just tanking his stab. Spider-Man 2, but you could have made him look a little less like a chump, but Kraven killing him made him look really good, and also served the dual purpose to get the symbiote on him, which you had to do somehow. But the other 3, Vulture, Electro, and Shocker, just being trophies with tape recordings next to them.
Way to fucking blow it, what a waste.
But to give credit where it's due, Kraven is incredible here. While I don't agree with every aspect of how he was built, his characterization is absolutely amazing. Without a doubt, one of the best interpretations of the character, standing right alongside the version we got in Last Hunt, but admittedly not as good as that version fucking buries Spider-Man alive and poses up on his grave in his suit.
That is next level, bro. I wouldn't stand for that kind of disrespect.
The only problem with this interpretation of Kraven is his motivations and how they're revealed to the player. The motivations themselves are fine and make sense for his character, dying of cancer and wants to be given a glorious death by an adversary instead of a disease. But the way in which this was revealed is terrible. Not through some big cutscene or reveal or anything like that, but through chemo pills on a fucking table, which you can completely miss if you're just speeding through the dialogue, since it's in a room with a bunch of other items that Peter looks at, comments on before moving on. An absolutely garbage way to reveal Kraven's entire motivation as a villain. Although he is given this death once Venom enters the fray, as Peter and Miles engage in probably my favorite boss fight in the game. Miles fighting Peter to save him from the suit and was turning him into, and using this fight to let out all Peter's grievances and pent-up frustrations out with amazing dialogue throughout the fight.
Why are you doing this? I made you. You owe me.
I know you don't mean that.
All I wanted was to save everyone. MJ. Me. Now the city thinks that I'm the problem. You think I'm the problem? But I'm not anymore.
Eventually able to help him get the suit off, which didn't look hard at all. Shit peeled off like a fucking band-aid. Jesus, dude, did I really need to do all that? Just fucking pull it off if it's that simple. And trying to return it to Dr. Connors, only for Harry to regain control of the symbiote and becoming full-blown Venom after sending Peter launching into a wall and knocking him out for 27 seconds. Spider-Man got knocked out for 27 seconds after being tossed into a wall. Kingpin did this to him, which Venom also does, knocking him out until the fucking morning. Stop lying to us, Pete. We both know your ass could have gotten back up from that in like 28 seconds, at least. You just went to bed like you did earlier in the game. Be for real.
Harry, wait. Don't kill the... Fuck, I'm tired.
Allowing for Harry to go on an absolute rampage through Oscorp in an amazing section, letting us feel like an absolute powerhouse until a boss fight with Kraven where he killed me. But I'm trash, as this is probably the easiest fight in the game, and rightfully so. Kraven's arc is coming to an end, and we're building the new big baddie as Venom just completely outmatches Kraven for the second time, because after Kraven killed Spider-Man and 4 other villains and has been built to look like Superman, he then immediately gets his shit absolutely rocked by Harry Osborn for no reason. I don't care if Harry was wearing the symbiote. Spider-Man was wearing the symbiote too and was getting put in positions like this. Meanwhile, spent the last decade floating in a tube. Harry had Kraven screaming in agony and flying around the map like a Smash Bros character and starfished on a rooftop in the span of a minute. And once again, it happens here. Maybe Kraven's kryptonite are gingers, as Venom here completely dog walks Kraven. With the most he does during the entire fight is chop Venom's BDSM tongue off, only for it to immediately grow back. Completely tanking through him and chopping his fucking head off in a fantastic way to start the third act, only for it to completely fall apart from this point on. With the pacing issues being just as bad as the first, although for different reasons, as we go from the, I don't want to say small scale, but citywide scale threat that Kraven was going around causing havoc in the city and trying to find someone capable of killing him, to all of a sudden a fucking world-ending threat in Venom, which is just so jarring as it happens in one cutscene in the span of 3 minutes. Venom kills Kraven, Harry gets a vision of healing the world by turning everyone into symbiotes, and that is the objective from that point on, stopping Harry and Venom from turning everyone into symbiotes. It's just way too sudden and jarring, and honestly, is Venom at his weakest personality and villain-wise. Not power-wise, this is probably the most powerful he'll be, but as a villain, this version of Venom is just not as interesting. As in my opinion, Venom works best as a personal threat to Spider-Man, someone who has a grudge, hates him due to a feeling of betrayal for rejecting him. It's why Eddie Brock is such an amazing host for Venom, because they both share that mutual disdain for Spider-Man. Meanwhile, World Ender Venom is just another world-ending villain. It's still good, but they focused a little less on what makes Venom great. And if you're worried that that'd leave Miles out, it wouldn't, because this game also builds a bit on Venom's hatred for Miles and Harry's jealousy for replacing him, as we see through dialogue during the boss fight.
You almost killed him, man. What are you doing?
You're in the way, Miles. Always in the way. You took him away from us.
Took him away? What the hell are you talking about?
In the forest. We remember what you did. You were jealous. That's why
It would have worked just as well, but they went this world ender version instead, which gameplay wise I understand, as you need goons for Spider-Man to fight, otherwise there's no game. But I don't know, I just didn't like this Venom's characterization as much as Kraven's, and it doesn't help that Kraven gets way more screen time than Venom. And when I say that, I don't mean minutes on screen, that's actually almost surprisingly even, but time as the main threat, as Kraven gets the entirety of Act 1 and 2, the two longest acts in the game, 75% of the story. Meanwhile, Venom gets Act 3 with a whopping 6 missions. 2 had almost double that, and 1 has over double that, which causes the third act and this entire plot line to just feel rushed as shit. It's not all bad though. There are still great moments. The MJ screen boss fight specifically is a highlight. MJ deciding that her time is now, and for some reason taking a bullet for her increased durability boyfriend, which was completely pointless as he gets knocked into a fridge, allowing for Harry to snatch his girlfriend and turn her into Scream, while Spider-Man was stuck under a fridge. Peter, you are fucking useless in this game.
What the hell is that?
That's MJ.
That's MJ? What the hell happened to her?
Harry got her. I couldn't stop him.
What, did he web you to the wall?
No.
Throw you through the wall?
No.
Throw you through the roof?
No, he threw me into a fridge.
A fridge? Okay. Then what?
No, that's it.
What? Was it like a big fridge?
No.
Double-doored one, smart fridge with a lot of wiring and things inside?
No, normal size. Pretty small, actually.
Similar to Miles vs. Pete, fun boss fight with a great story told throughout as they shout their grievances and all their issues in their toxic relationship for the entire neighborhood to hear, wonder who Spider-Man is. Definitely not Peter Parker, who's dating someone named
MJ's MJ.
living next door.
Is there nobody just watching this right now? Dog, everybody knows who this fucker is. If anybody heard the conversation they were having in the middle of the neighborhood shouting it.
But the climax was certainly the highlight of Act 3 for me. While it was very rushed, using 2 fucking lazy ass and convenient visions so the crew could quickly figure out where the meteor MacGuffin is with no work, the first vision not even being fucking correct. Meanwhile, they fully trust the second one to be right with no logic, evidence, or proof.
Oh, we need to call MJ. I know where the meteorite is.
Flashback.
Pete, I saw the meteorite. It's under the Harlem subway station. Next to the bridge.
But hey, they were conveniently right. The writers gave up here. While it was rushed and could have been better with more time and build up, it was still solid as Miles dons the most hideous fucking suit I've ever witnessed that looked like pajamas and tells Peter to wait up 10 minutes so he can go ask his crush on a date during the apocalypse.
Serious, Pete. Just give me 10 minutes. You cannot do this alone. I was trying to save you.
Miles, get your fucking ass over here right now.
You're incredible.
I need fucking help. Oh my god, there's so many.
I like you so much, and I think you like me.
This is insanity! Can the light stop turning off?
Do you want to go out? On a date?
Miles, you just had to fucking ask Haley out right now.
Is that a yes?
Oh my goodness, I'm getting fucking combos.
Well, it's a date then.
If that date does not go swimmingly, I will hate Miles forever.
But the final boss itself is fantastic, and where this interpretation of Venom shines most, as Peter is desperately trying to save him from the symbiote, trying to find a way to get rid of Venom without killing Harry with some absolutely amazing voice acting from Yuri.
Shut the fuck up!
Who does a fantastic job this entire game. But failing to in the end as Harry dies after the meteor is destroyed until Miles resuscitates him just for him to instantly go in a coma. A very good story that suffers from unfortunate issues. Venom's portions and Act 3 as a whole were given just a bit more breathing room, time, and build up. I really think this could have been better than the first because as of right now, it's still very good, just unfortunately flawed. And that's how I feel about the game as a whole. Despite all the issues, Spider-Man 2 is still a very solid game, gameplay-wise and story-wise. It was a good game. It just has a lot of issues, as I mentioned. It could have been better in a lot of places, but it's still a good game and certainly overhated by the internet. Solid and engaging story, fun gameplay, even with some removals and downgrades that confuse the shit out of me, and the best Spidey traversal that we have ever seen. With all that, Spider-Man 2 to me is a solid 7 out of 10, the exact same score that I gave to the first. Lots of improvements over that game to get it up to that point, but with removals and decisions story-wise and gameplay-wise that drag it right back down to exactly where it started for me. Another all-around good Spider-Man game. Hopefully Luckily, when it comes to Spider-Man 3, they're able to take all the best aspects from the first and second and merge it into something that's a 10 out of 10. But even if they did do that, I'm still very worried about the game story-wise, because Jesus Christ, you have put yourself in a shit position.
And we've taken some of the criticism for the last game and added different pages of swappable gadgets. Combat-oriented, stealth-oriented. It's all coming together really well.
Okay, that looks good. What about the story? Where's the story team? We need their progress report.
I don't know, call them.
Alfred, come to my office. I need to see your progress report on Spider-Man 3 story.
Progress report? There is no progress report. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing. Delay the game.
Delay the... Okay, Alfred, buddy, what do you mean? What do you mean delay the game?
Bro, you canceled the DLC. We have 5 unfinished story arcs: Carnage, Chameleon, Goblin. We don't even know where to start. Delay the game.
Okay, buddy, whatever you say. You're still working on the Wolverine game though, right?